We have a special guest today. Fox wants to do this video with me, so he's going to sit on my lap while I talk about what I read in December, and then he's going to talk about his favorite book from the month of December. November, I had a baby, which means December I wasn't expecting to read too much, and I didn't think I would get anything done because December is a busy month in general, especially when you're a mom and you're trying to make Christmas happen for your kids. So I only read 3 books, and actually that's way more than I even thought I would read, so I am very impressed with myself. 3 kids, Christmas, and 3 books is doing pretty darn good. So I don't have much to say. The first book that I read was The City Baker's Guide to Country Living by Louise Miller. I enjoyed this book. I feel like the pacing was a little bit funny in it. It moved a lot more slowly than I expected, but it was very cozy. It was the perfect kind of introduction to the holiday season. It doesn't only take place during the Christmas season. It takes place throughout, I think, an entire calendar year. What are you doing? It's about a woman named Olivia who is a New York City baker. She works at a restaurant. One day an accident happens at the restaurant. That's kind of where that's where the book opens. And she decides to escape to the country. She works at a small country inn as a baker. And it's kind of about her life among the locals, and there's a little bit of a romance in the book. It's very sweet. It reminds me, it has serious Gilmore Girl vibes. It's got some great food writing in it. So that it had a lot going for it, but I did ultimately feel a little bit disappointed. It's not like I felt like this was a waste of time. It just wasn't my favorite book. Like, I liked it, but I've read better contemporaries in my life. Ooh, you're getting so heavy. I know, we're having trouble seeing your face, so you kind of got to sit back. There you go. All right, I wish you had your own chair, because this is going to end up hurting my legs. Next, I read Christmas with Anne by Ellen Montgomery, although, of course, it wasn't compiled by Ellen Montgomery. I did really enjoy this book. This is a collection of short stories by Ellen Montgomery that all take place around Christmas time. There are a few that take place at the New Year. I read this book how I think it is best enjoyed, and that is spread out over the whole month, so I would read about a story a day, which was perfect. It wasn't too long. I could dip in and out. Krista, my friend Krista from Books and Jams, also read this in December. We happened to be reading it at the same time, although I don't think I knew that she was reading it, and I did hear her talk about it, and she felt like the stories got really repetitive, and I can totally see that because a lot of the stories have to do with characters who are overcoming their pride and overcoming some sort of family feud, which is a theme that you see running throughout a lot of Ellen Montgomery's books, and I think because there's a lot of them condensed into this one collection of short stories, it does end up feeling repetitive. But if you read it the way I did, which is over the course of the month, dipping in and out, a story a day, sometimes not even that, because how many short stories are there in here? There are 16 short stories in here, so you don't even need to read one a day if you want to read it over the course of the month. It feels very charming and sweet and the perfect companion to Christmas time. I always enjoy Ellen Montgomery's writing and her world, the way she portrays life. I didn't give this 5 stars, but I did very much enjoy my time reading it. The last book that I read was definitely my favorite, and also my favorite of the year if you watched my video that came out on Wednesday, and that is This Tender Land by William Kent Kruger. I really loved it, but I also really loved Beartown, and there were some middle grade books that I really loved, so who knows if this is actually my favorite book of the year. That could change on any given day, but I did really, 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 really love this book. Have I said really love enough times? It was amazing. If you happened to not see my favorites of the year video, this book is about 4 orphans who are escaping a terrible situation at a boarding school based on real boarding schools in the early 20th century where Native American students were taught. They were often abusive, horrible places, and this one was no different. 2 of the characters we follow are white children. One of them is Native American, and one of them is a little girl who I think is part Native American. Sioux, I should say. They're both Sioux. Anyway, these 4 orphans run away from this boarding school in search of a better life. Not only a better life, but they're also trying to escape from a terrible crime that Odie, our main character, committed. It is a story about stories. It's a story about storytelling. It's a coming-of-age story on the backdrop of both the Great Depression and the Gilead River. This is William Kent Kruger's retelling of Huck Finn. I heard him speak at a local bookstore. He was a wonderful, amazing speaker / storyteller and very enigmatic, and I loved listening to him. I'd love to hear him talk again. I loved these characters so much. The storytelling was so special. It swept me away. It's a long book, and the storytelling feels very big. It's an epic story, and so you follow these 4 main characters, but you also make stops along the Gilead River in which these children are meeting other people and coming to terms with their history and their future. The way William Kent Kruger achieves this is just incredible. I highly recommend this book. It was amazing, beautifully written, beautiful storytelling, so wise, and I'm coming to discover that one of my favorite things in books is, okay, so I'm not a huge fan of Christian fiction, although I have to say I haven't read a ton of it, but I kind of in my head have this sort of negative connotation when I hear it, which isn't fair of me, I know, but I love books that deal with faith and explore faith that aren't Christian fiction. So this isn't Christian fiction, but it definitely explores faith and also doubt. Odie in this book doesn't feel that God has the best reputation, and so he's grappling with that. It's just really, really beautiful. I love it. I love books that have that theme in it without it being a Christian book. Faith is just an element in the story, and I'm coming to really love that. As long as it's not too cynical. Do you know what I mean? I don't want cynicism in it. I want an honest, beautiful exploration of faith. So, I hope that makes sense. So these were the books that I read in December. For it being the month after I gave birth to a child and having to make Christmas happen for my children, I am pretty proud of myself. And now I'm going to turn over the stage to Fox and let him talk about his favorite book that we read together this month. So you have to tell him about it.
This is The 7 Silly Eaters. It's my favorite book of the year.
Of the year, of the month?
Of the month.
Can you tell them why you loved it?
Because of the illustrator. The illustrator is a very good writer, and I like the pictures.
The pictures kind of tell a story in itself. So you loved the illustrations. Do you love the story?
Yeah.
What do you love? Can you tell them about what is the story? Tell them what happens in it.
Mrs. Peters, she gets the 7 silly eaters. That means there's 7 children.
There's 7 children in the family who are very picky eaters, and Mrs. Peters has to make something special for each one of them. That's kind of what the book is about, and it ends calamitously and beautifully.
So they make their secret plan.
They make their secret plan? Here they're making their secret plan. It's Mrs. Peters' birthday.
I like this picture because I like the whole bedroom. I need that bedroom. If I can sleep any one of these beds I want in any night.
You want to sleep in one of those beds?
I could.
It looks like a really magical bedroom, doesn't it? This was Fox's favorite book from the month. This is also one of my favorite picture books. So you should all read it to your kids if you've got them. Or just read it to yourself because it's just a great book in general. Those are the books we read this month. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. We'll talk to you later, friends.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
At the end of the video.